So this event, I think, first and foremost, is about the 60 years of the Joint Research Center. I mean, the Joint Research Center has been here as long as the Treaty of Rome and Euratom, and that means a lot. It means that Europe puts science at the forefront of the priorities of our citizens. And I think that in a time that we're living today, this is a big political statement. Europe cares about science. Europe is the beacon of science. And so we have to find ways of connecting more with the citizens, because the citizens are actually quite far away from us. And so I think there's the point of the conference is, how do you regain the trust? How do you get that trust back in times of difficulty, in times that people are bombarded by loads of information, in times where children don't know where places to go in the internet to get the right information. So we have to help people to actually regain trust in the process of science. I think there's several things. That's something we did, which was the creation of this group of 7 scientists that we call the Scientific Advice Mechanism, that they inform politicians with evidence anytime politicians in the Commission want to take a decision. So if you want to do legislation about a subject in environment or other subjects, they will come to us, to the College of Commissioners, and tell us, what's the evidence? What's the evidence in science for us to take that decision? I think that's one of the biggest steps that the European Union has really taken in terms of science, is to have this group of chief scientific advisors that inform politicians about that journey, about that process of science with the evidence. And that's something that I would say is the most important, because today, if the politicians don't really look at the evidence, they will take decisions, but they will take decisions that are not informed. And I think that's the first step. The second is how you connect back with the citizens. How do you regain that trust? And I think that's one of the points I was referring, that Sir Peter Gluckman from the New Zealand Chief Scientific Advisor puts a lot in his conferences, that you have really to get and explain to people that there are things that you know and things that you don't know as a scientist. And so if you explain that process, people will trust you, because just people don't trust when everybody's talking, everybody's telling them what to do, and people are tired of that. And I think that's very important for the future. I think that it's not people should trust in science, is how do you actually get back that trust? Because people trust science. Science has changed the way we live. Science has changed the way we think. I mean, I sometimes look into the examples that people sometimes in the street, and even my children, don't know. I mean, if you look at Einstein, when he looked at the whole concept of antimatter, I mean, what that means for science, I mean, it means that today people have what you call the PET scans that actually detect cancer, and that changes the life of people. But people don't do these connections sometimes in between the fundamental discoveries and the science. And so I think that it's about creating those bridges, getting people to cross that bridge with us. And today is very difficult because there's so much information. People are bombarded by that information. And that's where I said that also we have to create places of trust, places where people can go and feel safe, that they say, okay, the information here is good. And that's a lot of work to do on that. And that for me is what I call the 2 internets. The internet that we will trust and the internet that we will not trust. And the JRC is definitely one of the very important pieces of that puzzle, because the JRC is a place that we trust.